Salve Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, estes nostra salve.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to the crowds, "Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart, and you will find rest for yourselves. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light." The Gospel of the Lord. I've long found a saying quite amusing. The saying is, "May the peace of Christ disturb you." The irony and the apparent contradiction of that statement is amusingly truthful. May the peace of Christ disturb you. It seems to contradict the opening prayer that talked about the comforting physician coming to us. Because when I see an image of a physician, I see somebody with a scalpel in their hands ready to start carving me. Anesthesia, fasting for a whole day to prepare for surgery. I don't find that very comforting. And yet, it's a disturbance that has to be endured to get to healing, where a type of comfort arrives. And when we look in a little bit of background into that word comfort, more akin to a biblical explanation of the word, you can find in the Latin roots of the word comfort. It's interesting. It means in its older form, it was used as a way to give moral strength, to fortify, to prod and encourage and press forward. These are not words that describe an ease and a relaxation and a leisure. It seems more like an effort that's necessary to arrive at something more easy. And so initially there seems to be a burden attached to the word. And yet, maybe not so much of a burden when seen in perspective. I was thinking of these words from the prophet Isaiah. These are words that require effort. They that hope in the Lord will renew their strength. It's a call not to rest, but it's a call to be strong. It's a call to be disturbed and react with strength. They that hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will run and not grow weary. These are words of comfort, but they require an action that disturbs us. They describe a soul stirring and struggling for something better, where the comfort of ease will be granted, but for now the comfort of encouragement is required. And so Jesus says, "Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will refresh you." These are beautiful words of comfort, and yet, just even to imagine, he says, "Take my yoke upon yourself." The yoke was a wooden structure hanging around the neck of a beast of burden, an ox. So it could be steered and directed to properly plow a field or move a cart. But yet, the yoke itself, although a type of burden going along with it, was meant for actually the comfort of the animal, to help it do its job and ease its burden. Come to me and take my yoke upon yourself. Sometimes we need to be disturbed, and Advent is a time for that. It's not just a time from a Christian perspective to start thinking about our Christmas gifts. However, if you want, I will hand you a list of mine later. But it's not really time for that. It's time for letting Christ move us to what will give us eternal comfort and eternal rest. But the work that goes along with it now must be done. And so, he says, "For I am meek and humble of heart." He is the example of the one who is willing to be led, to put his agenda aside and be led, to be disturbed by the cross for the sake of the glory of the resurrection, and to allow us to be disturbed by the cross. Humble of heart, that he would always bend to the will of the Father. It's not easy sometimes to put aside familiar ways and things that we counted on and truths that we believed were true. It's not easy to sacrifice those when somebody comes along and says, that's not right. There's a better way to do this. And isn't this what the gospel cries out to the culture of tension that we are in right now? There's a better way to do this. But yet we don't want to be disturbed by someone who's going to tell us, I can't do what I want, which is something that ends up disturbing everybody else and ultimately disturbs me because there's nobody else left to be friends with. So there's this willingness to be led and driven and prodded by Christ. And so this Prince of Peace comes to disturb us for the sake of eternal serenity and comfort. But the comfort of the prodding must take place first. The advent of the glory of Jesus Christ.
Regina Celi, letare, alleluia, qui aquae meruisti portare, alleluia, resurrexit sicut dixit, alleluia.